Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano. And unfortunately, I am solo again this evening. Amelia is still on hiatus, so let's send her some well wishes on the passing of her father. Make sure that her family is doing well and that they all have some nice healing light and quiet downtime as they adjust. Anyway, we are broadcasting live here on UFO Paranormal Radio this evening, 107.7 FM in New Orleans. So please feel free to stop by the YouTube channel and join us in the chat room. Don't hesitate to go to the Outer Realm Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. So tonight we have an amazing guest. Looking really forward to this. June Lundgren. People often say sometimes that animals are not necessarily a sentient being. They don't feel things. They don't know things. They don't have souls. I've heard some very peculiar things over the years, thinking to myself, I'm not quite sure how this is a thing. If a plant can have a soul, and again, people will have to all agree to disagree. Animals absolutely can. So June basically communicates with animals. She's a psychic medium, animal communicator, healer, nurse, demon seer, international paranormal investigator, author with over 40 years of experience in the paranormal field. As a child, she communicated with spirits, animals, and angels. She served in the military, where she trained as a nurse and EMT. After returning from the military, she continued to work in the medical field as a nurse and is currently the founding member of Ghosts and Girls Paranormal. I love it. I love it. So I think she's going to shed some light on what we all think of animals. I know I recently lost a pet this past summer, and it's always nice when she's around. I always take great comfort in knowing when pets are around, and she still has her peculiar little behaviors. But I was once gifted with an animal reading, a psychic reading for my pets, and I accepted the gift graciously because I fostered a lot of animals, so we don't always have a lot of insight into what their lives used to be like. And all I needed to do was send a photo, and the medium picked up on some amazing characteristics of what all these little personalities were. And we had one who was pretty badly abused, and she had this big lump on her neck, and there was no way that this woman could have seen that. And she picked up on it right away. And she said, she really likes when you rub that. It gives her a lot of comfort. So I thought, you know what? I think the dog really does love it when I do that, because she seems to become very relaxed. So there's something to be said for it. There's definitely something to be said for it. So I don't know, don't shrug it off so easily. I know even when working in the field, in the paranormal, pets seem to be able to pick up when there's something around that shouldn't be around. I've seen it in my own household. I've always said to people, how do your animals react to things that are going on? Kind of follow their lead, and they really do seem to pick up on when something bothersome comes in. So with that being said, I'm hoping that we're all going to get a good education tonight on what animals, what are they like? What do they think of us? Do they think anything of us? Are they a commodity? I don't know. I guess we're going to figure it all out. So I think Joe has just tagged me in. I don't know why. I'm going to have to log out of Facebook. So I definitely apologize, guys. But for some reason, I'm getting pinged and pinged and pinged. So we're just going to get right out of that. Okay. And I'm going to go up and I'm going to share this to the Outer Realm and to Canada's Most Haunted. And then maybe Joe can bring on our guest and we can get started. Okay. So again, apologize. I apologize, guys. Okay. Now I'm going to come into the chat room and I'm good to go. There we are. Hey, Zach. Awesome. Okay, so we are good. We're in chat. And again, I am waiting on Joe to bring our guest in. And I see live. There we go. I'm sitting here talking to myself, so I know we're good. So Zach says, hi, Michelle. Sending love and light to Amelia. Amelia, if you're listening, Zach Man's in the house. And Zach says, if animals can feel emotions like love and sadness, they have a soul, period. I agree. Hi, June.
Hi.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Good. Thank you for joining us tonight. I've really been looking forward to this. So I guess the best way to get started is your childhood. When did you realize you had this ability? Because a lot of people have, develop abilities, but not everyone can really connect with animals.
Yeah, when I was raised by my grandmother for the first 5 years of my life, and she noticed right away that, the animals would gather under my crib and they would tilt their heads like they were listening. And whenever we'd go outside, the animals would be attracted to me. And she just, for a long time, she sat back and watched to see what developed. And, when I was old enough to be able to talk to her and for her to understand, she's like, then she understood that they were actually talking to me. I could hear them like I heard her. It was a regular conversation.
Oh.
And up until I was about 8 or 9, I thought everybody could do it. So I didn't know I was different.
Wow, that must have been something. Honestly, I've tried to get through to many of my pets through the years, and I'm having a conversation. They're looking at me.
Yeah, they look at you like, what? What are you talking about?
Try to look at a 2-pound chihuahua and reason with them.
Oh, yeah, they have this like massive superiority complex.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, this is how it's going to go down. Dog's thinking, no, it's not. So, pretty much rule the roost.
Not what you want.
No, exactly.
Yeah, they're pretty stubborn, yeah.
They are. But, have you ever had somebody say to you, no, they're not, they're not a sentient being. They don't have feelings. I mean, I've had people say that before. They don't have a soul. Thinking, how can you look into an animal's eyes and think that there's nothing going on there?
Yeah, I don't get it. Obviously not animal people, because animals are sentient beings. I mean, they feel like you and I do. It's like their pain receptors are built for like a Sherman tank. They can take a lot more pain and not whine about it like people do.
Right.
Being a nurse, I can tell you.
Yeah.
People whine, oh, I just got a sliver in my finger. It's horrible.
Oh, that's just
they look at you like, what? What's your problem?
Yeah. I know. Meanwhile, the 2-pound dog is just taking it like a man. So.
Oh yeah, right. And the 150-pound or 200-pound guy is like, oh my God, I'm dying.
I'm sick. Help me. Feed me. I can't get up. I know. It's a lovely thing. We've all been there. Okay, so you get into animal communicating. Why would someone? I was just saying I was gifted personally with an animal reading a few years ago because I brought in a lot of fosters and really didn't have any inkling of where they came from. What they were feeling, how they felt.
Yeah, that's the hard part because you don't know what they've been through before. You don't know what they've experienced. We don't. If you don't have abilities, it's like, what happened to you? Why are you afraid of men, or why are you afraid of the broom, or whatever? It's I try to. I have offered to donate my time for rescues and stuff to help them.
That's lovely.
Because, frankly, I like animals better than I do people.
You're not far off on that. You're not alone.
They don't have the baggage that we do,
That's true.
They accept things. They're very simplistic in the way that they believe and the way they respond. And it's just much easier to read them than it is people.
Why do you think that is? I mean, people, I guess maybe we don't realize maybe we're trying to block or we're trying to throw energy. Is it just because it's more natural with an animal?
Animals are closer to God than we are, and
Okay.
a lot of people don't believe that, but it's quite true. They don't have sin. It's like, what?
Yeah.
This is instinct. I'm gonna kill a rat. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we have so much baggage going on. We have so many emotions. That I'm empathic, but I shut that side down because I deal with demons. So you can't be feeling,
I hear you there.
you can't be feeling the emotions of the people involved until after the fact. So you just kind of shut it down. But with animals, I can turn it on, and it's much easier because our emotions are quite simple and straightforward. They call a spade a spade. I don't like it. Stop doing it. I don't want to eat that. Don't give it to me anymore.
It's like black and white. There's nothing in between.
No.
That stuff stinks. Get it away from me. Would you eat that?
Don't put that stuff in my ear. I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Is it like when you read an animal? I've had people say, well, it's body language. I'm thinking, well, okay. I mean, sometimes it's pretty obvious. The tail goes down between her legs and the teeth baring. That's pretty obvious. But,
yeah.
How about the not so obvious things?
For people that can't do what I do, it's like, the animals read your energy. I don't care whether it's a cow or dog or cat. They read your energy. They pick up on your intent. And, if your intent is to love them and cherish them, then they pick up on that. If your intent is to abuse them, and they pick up on that too, and they're going to react. People have this fallacy about pit bulls. I have 2 pit bulls. They're sisters. And they'll sooner lick you to death as to greet you. But it's men. It's man that makes them mean. It's got nothing to do, unless they're inbred too much. And then you have, just like you do with people, incestuous relationships. They go a little bonkers. It's the same thing with dogs. They're very simple, very loving, and they're very loyal. And cats are, on the other hand, they're more free-spirited and haughty.
Yeah, they're pretty independent. It's just like, come on, it's like, okay, bipedal. That is not going to be a thing.
Yeah. Whatever you say. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I won't.
Exactly. So basically, you help people. I guess you give them information. They get a pet. Have you ever had an animal that just didn't want to talk to you?
At first, they're like, when I talk to an animal, it's like I talk to them like I talk to you. Right. I hear full-on conversations. Some people get pictures, some people get feelings, some people read energy. I just get like, okay, now that you understand me and I can understand you, here's my list of demands. Yeah.
Must have been a cat.
This is what I want. Actually, it was a Chihuahua. But,
same thing.
There.
I am not surprised. I have had, several Chihuahuas, and the one I had that passed this past summer was almost like, honestly, she was just like a child. I would have morning latte and a muffin, and she had to have a little taste of that latte, and especially the muffin. And it became a bloody ritual. I'm like, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I almost contemplate, so I have to give you a little cup or something, because this is just getting a little weird. But, and we have one who, when I got her, she was her last owner. And again, she was a breeder dog. And I just find them they get abused, And she goes, well, she's going to need a little time to adjust. I said, I'm all okay with time to adjust. I didn't expect 9.5 months of adjustment time where I was living with Cujo.
Well, it takes time for them to trust. You have to earn their trust. That's the biggest thing right there, is earning their trust, because they don't give it lightly. But once they do, you're in like Clint. It's like they'll do anything for you. It's like, they're like living in your pocket. That sort of thing. And it's I hate puppy mills. I hate anything to do with breeders. It's just, to me, it's cruel. And because an animal should be free, animal should be able to, like, I have 3 acres. The the house sits on an acre that's entirely fenced in, so the dogs
Mm,
can run to their heart's content.
nice.
And God forbid you should try to come in the front gate.
No, bowl you over. Yay! Mom's home.
Yep,
Oh,
yep.
no, I love it. What do you find, like, what do you find are the typical, conversations? What is it that what are their concerns? What is it that they look for? Because, I always look at them as, I don't know, maybe I could come back as a dog. Like, are these human spirits
Yeah,
inside
yeah,
animal
yeah. You can,
physicals?
yeah, you can come
Really?
back as a dog. You can come back as a person. Oh
Wow.
yeah, it's up to the individual.
Yeah.
That's why I say when people say that it's like they're not sentient, I'm like, really? Yeah, okay, whatever you say, but you're wrong.
You're coming
Always
back as
wrong.
a dog next
But
time,
uh,
mister. Yeah.
I always told my husband, I said, listen, maybe, just maybe, my mom will come back as a hairless chihuahua to a fat old woman. That would be good.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they're pretty headstrong. You'd have to be a pretty headstrong personality. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah. But they most of the time, when you first connect with them, when I first connect with them, it's like, what? What? I can understand you. They're shocked that they can understand me. They're shocked that they can, and I can understand them as well. And so that's the first part. That kind of startles them. And they kind
Hmm.
of back off a little bit, and then you just continue to talk to them, and they're like, "Oh, well, this is good." I'm like, I can tell them whatever you want. I said, it's up to you if you're having problems. A lot of people will call me in because they're having, behavioral issues. And a lot of that, some of that, especially with the older dogs, is they have arthritis, for God's sakes. They're like
Hmm.
people. They get
Hmm.
arthritis, they hurt, and
Yeah.
you have to take that into account so the dog doesn't jump and run like it used to. Big deal. They're a companion. They're not meant to be, you know, you know, the greyhound running around the track. You know,
Hmm.
they're they're a person dog, and all dogs, I believe, are person dogs.
Hmm. No, I think I tend to agree with you on that. I think unless you were a hermit in your last life, you don't see too many animals that actually want to be solitary.
Yeah, not and if you do see one, it's usually because of the mistreatment prior.
Hmm.
They're afraid to trust anyone. So,
Yeah.
and that's heartbreaking, and I really hate that. It's just that bothers me a lot. I
Hmm.
always want to take and sit down and have a nice conversation with them and let them
Hmm.
know that not everybody's like that.
Hmm.
I had to do that recently. I had a woman contact me, and she had her cat. In fact, I had two people contact me, and the cat, they hadn't seen the cat in a few days, and they were concerned. And I can, as long as I have a picture, I can
Hmm.
connect with them and actually talk to them. If they're still, and I'll find out if they're still alive or if they're gone.
Hmm.
And if they're still alive, I can help them get home.
Hmm.
And I can see through their eyes and help them get home. So,
That's
and that's
fascinating.
good because I can't stand to see them lost.
No, no, it's never easy. I mean, I mean, I just look at them as being so vulnerable, yet they're probably more self-sufficient than most humans. They love you
Yeah,
unconditionally or they hate you
that's
unconditionally.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, one or the other. Yeah. I had a cousin who had a Doberman, and she bred her, and she wasn't good to the Doberman. I got two of the pups out of it, and she was she had moved in with me. This was way back when I was single, and she had no respect for the dog,
Mm,
and the dog. And I'm like, yeah, but she'll do whatever I say. I said, you have to earn their respect. You don't mistreat them and expect them to do whatever you want. I said,
mm,
that's not likely to happen.
mm-hmm,
I said, I won't have you doing that in my house either.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. No, there's no place for that. Not in my world, anyway. So
Yeah.
what do you think are the biggest concerns? I mean, I can see a wild animal, you'd be concerned about food and shelter. What I mean,
and
domestic pets. What would be?
living to the next day.
Yeah, exactly.
Their biggest concern is like, well, she's feeding me this crap food, and I really don't like it.
Right.
I eat it because that's all I got, and I said, well, all right, you don't like it. Okay. So what would you like to have? And they're quick to say, well, meat, of course, raw meat.
Yeah,
So do you have
yeah.
a preference? And they're like, chicken. I like chicken or turkey or whatever, And
That's
I'm like,
funny.
okay, all right. I'll tell them you need more of that. And anything else? I need a softer bed. I need to
Oh.
sleep on the bed with them. It's like
Oh.
they put me on the floor. I need to sleep on the bed. I have old bones. I need soft.
Oh.
I'm like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you have to sit down and talk to them, get what they want, and then you talk to the owners and say, listen, this is how he feels. This is what's going on, and so you really need to, give a little here.
Mm-hmm.
And 9 times out of 10, they're like, oh, okay, no problem. We'll do it, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
There are
Yeah.
the ones that there are some people who believe who treat dogs. It's just an animal. It's just a dog. But, not in my house. Animals
Mm-hmm.
rule.
No, it's true,
animals,
but
animals, animals get better treated than my husband.
that's probably because
He'll
the
tell you that.
animals know they can
That's
speak
a
up, and your husband
problem.
might think twice.
Yeah. Snap
Don't
him
speak.
back. Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so
Don't
they
do it.
basically, do they see the world much the way we see it, or do they just have their own version of everything? I mean, if they're closest to God than, let's say, we are, or to the infinite, it almost feels as though it would give them a bit of a superiority complex. you know,
But they don't.
We're-
They really accept it. It's
yeah.
like when they cross, it's like, yeah, I'm going home. I mean, how many times have you actually seen a ghost of a dog? I mean, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've seen a ghost of an animal.
Hmm.
And because usually it's like, I'm out of here. I'm so done with this.
I wonder,
And
unless they're just really happy. We tend to have them around here.
yeah,
I think there's a couple of cats, and I know that my pup comes in visitation mostly. People pick up on her all the time. It's like, oh, okay, that's
yeah,
great.
a lot of times they won't want to leave the human because they know how much, they know that they're sad. And
Hmm.
eventually they'll move on because they want to come back and do something else. Like I had a couple of dobies that I had two sets of dobies, and the last two were sisters, and I lost them about 3.5 years ago.
Mm.
And I knew they'd be back. They're like, I'm coming back, Mom. Don't worry about it. And so
Ah.
when I saw these two pits, I'm like, oh, there's the girls. And
Oh,
they answer to to the old names, and they have the same
that's
mannerisms, same
crazy.
build, everything. Yeah, they're like,
That's
yeah,
that's
that's me.
crazy. What are the chances? I mean, because
Well,
you're
if they
dealing
love
with,
you, they'll come back to you.
they'll
If
find
they
a
love you,
way.
they'll come back to you. Oh yeah, I had one of my dobies was a gladiator dobie. He was 6 foot from nose to tail and 200 pounds.
Jesus, that's crazy. That's a big dog.
He,
I've had
he
those. That's a big one.
Yeah, he's what they call a gladiator dobie. I rescued him. He came back as a 19-pound Cocker Spaniel with an attitude.
Who thinks he's still Adobe?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
God, he was
my
ornery.
gosh. So they really do
When he was a
find a way.
dobie, he was mellow. Oh yeah, they find a way. They know you'll find them. It's just a matter of waiting. You don't want to be in a hurry because it's like I waited a year and a half, and it's like and I'm sure they'll come along pretty soon. And sure enough, there they are.
Yeah, but see, you would know. It's like I'm going to have to contact you and say, okay, the Chihuahua's been gone for this amount of months or years. What's it coming back as? Here's a picture. Because if it's coming back
I
as a
know.
Cocker Spaniel, I got to be Cocker Spaniel shopping.
I know. It's like, some of them say, like, Mom, like a friend of mine, she's like, I lost my cat and I'd really like him to get another one. I said, wait a minute, wait a minute. She says she's going to come back. She's going to be a marmalade cat, a female. And I said, you're going to find her at the local shelter nearest your house. And I said, but you have to wait. I said, you have to wait about 6 months. And sure enough, she went down there. I said, she's going to answer to her name as well.
Oh.
And sure enough, she did. She's like, okay, we're going home.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have to give this, a certain amount of time. And I'm going to be contacting you and say, okay, I need a reading because this dog is a thing in my life. She's just, everybody would joke, oh, you love that dog more than your own kids. What? I do not.
This is a dog reading. Thank you.
That's right. She just thinks she's a people. That's all.
Yep, they do. Well, they think they're better than people, and they probably are.
I agree in a lot of ways, and I think sometimes people just bond to, there's just sometimes I've had a lot of dogs, but there was something about this one that we just bonded so intensely. She almost died. I basically stayed with her all night at the vet's, brought her back. He sent me in there to go spend the night because you're not going to make it by morning. Well, not only did she make it, just from mom's love, she just went on and on and on. And when she did finally pass, I revived her probably 6 times, like over the course of a month. And I think finally she's just like, she just couldn't. And I said, okay, you win. Like it was me who couldn't let her go. So, and now she just trots around like she owns the place. And I'm thinking, okay, well, that's a thing, you're still here. That's okay. But, I just said, I'm never going to find another one.
And you get people that are the opposite. I knew somebody she's an animal communicator. She couldn't talk to her own animals, which kind of blows me away.
Yeah.
But she had one dog that was ready to go. I mean, she's like, I need you to come over and talk to her. So I'm like, so I went over there. I'm like, the dog's telling me what's going on, and I'm like, really? She was force feeding the dog, to keep it alive. And I told her, I said, you need to stop that crap. I said, stop force feeding her. She wants to go. She doesn't want to be here. I said, you need to start listening to your own animals. I said, she doesn't want to be here. She doesn't want to live like this. I said, just let her go. I said, you're being selfish. Let her go.
That's difficult because
she finally did, but it's like, really?
They're life companions. We love them like children. We really do. I mean, I keep thinking if I had the ability to have conversations with Beta, we would have been just like ridiculous because it's just there's a mental connection. You just don't hear the words,
Right.
She wants something, gets her point across, and I eventually cave in.
Right.
Okay.
Of course.
So it is really, really difficult because I think, we lose loved ones as people and, we grieve, but it's just funny how some people will grieve the loss of a pet harder, such a much shorter lifespan. You expect
exactly.
Like, we have that expectation that they're going to go fairly quick, but
we don't like it, but it's part of life.
It's true. It's true.
That's the thing. I don't worry about that. I can let go because I know I can see them anyway and talk to them even when they're dead. So it doesn't matter to me. It's like, okay, they're still here. Okay, fine.
And there you are again. Yeah.
I'm here. I'm okay, Mom. It's all right. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, that's so. Your girls came back as pit bulls, and and you have other spirit pets still with you because you said you had 2 sets, so they haven't come back yet.
The male has the male came back as the 18-pound, 19-pound German Cocker Spaniel,
which is very funny to me. All that girth and come back with something cute and fuzzy.
Samson and Goliath here.
Yes.
And no, he had attitude. He was not cute and fuzzy. And but the female, her paper name was Fatal Beauty, but she hasn't come back yet. She's still deciding. She's like, I haven't decided yet. I'm like, okay.
Is she punishing you?
Oh,
Just,
no, because she still hangs around. It's just
yeah.
my Springer that I have. I have a 14-year-old Springer. She's almost 14.
Wow.
And all my Springers have come back as Springers. I'll just find them. They're there. It's like, yeah, Mom, I'm coming back. I'm going to be the same breed, so watch for me. I'm like, okay.
But it's great that they tell you. Like
Yeah.
that is such an amazing gift because, but mind you, it's like, do you want to be hanging there waiting? PETA says we're coming to be back in exactly 1 year. And because I've had German Shepherds, I've had, Dobermans, I've had Huskies, and I ended up settling with Chihuahuas. And I won't say settling because you have to really love Chihuahuas to
Yeah,
have
you
that
do.
much attitude. And when you've got like four at a time with all
Oh,
this
yeah.
attitude going on, you really have
Yeah.
to love them a lot. But
Oh, no, my adopted brother he was about 6'4", 250 pounds. He laid the big pipes and stuff like that. And his dog was a Chihuahua,
there you go, see?
of course. He's just a big dude. He's got this little Chihuahua.
Yeah, I don't know. I love it. I love it. It's just such a different type of contrast, It's like insult me,
It is. It's,
you know.
it's totally it's totally different. The smallest dog I've ever had has been a Springer. It's just like I don't like what I call the ankle biters, the little guys,
Right.
because they're not for me. I want a dog that I can, if I get hit by them, running. I know I've been hit. My Dobie that was so big, his name was JT, stood for Just Trouble.
Hmm.
I had bought a house when I was single, and I was coming outside and the spotlight was behind me and he couldn't see who it was. And he ran full tilt at me, hit me and knocked me down. I come up swearing and he's like, "Oh crap, it's Mom." And he ran to the farthest part of the yard.
I took out the wrong person. I'm in so much trouble right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Oh, I don't
It's like,
know.
it's okay. Don't do it again.
I do. I love it though. I love it. I love it because the personalities are just larger than life, and it doesn't matter what size they are. The one good thing about the ankle biters is they're really tiny and their teeth don't last long. I mean, I've had to do dental,
No.
sometimes two, on every Chihuahua I have ever had, you know, and it's not so bad if I've had one. I've only had one as a real little pup that I actually got, which was PETA, which is probably
Mhm.
why she was the way she was because I kind of molded her that way. Everybody blames me. You just like completely enabled that dog. Yes, I did. In fact, when
Of
I got
course.
the psychic reading for the pets, the woman is reading all the pets, and she goes, and the little
Uh,
brown one
uh,
seems to think she's the center of the universe. And I'm like, she's not.
how could she not?
Exactly. There's something wrong with that. It's like, okay, I admit it. I enabled the dog. You know,
Of course. That's just natural. What's wrong with you? She
exactly.
is the center of the universe.
Exactly. That's what I thought. I'm thinking this is okay, right? But I mean, my fosters were always the ones, the adopted dogs that ended up having to have multiple dentals because they just bad teeth. Nobody cared for them. I've got one now
Yeah.
who's she
Yeah.
she turns 8 tomorrow. She doesn't have a tooth in her head, and she was a breeder dog and just really really bad shape. So, but
Hey,
but she
soft
acts like she has
food.
a
It
mouthful of
works.
teeth. Oh, raw
I'm
food.
sure. Attitude to attitude.
Oh yeah, and it's funny because
Teeth
when
or
you
no,
mention
the attitude is there.
it's true, it's true. You mentioned raw food. I don't need a pet psychic to know that these girls
Oh yeah.
love.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, we have one. She's blind and she still dances around all over the place when she knows and
It
hears that
doesn't
there's food
matter.
coming.
It doesn't matter. She can smell it.
She
Yeah, she can
can.
smell it.
Oh,
It's like,
just as
'cause
excited.
my Springer, she's about deaf and she can't see very well. She's not blind, but she's got cataracts, and it's like, she can't hear me when I yell for her. But boy, you open something and she's right there.
That's it. That's all it takes. You need to get the dog's attention. Just open up a can of food and they're
Yep.
right at your
Yep.
ankles.
There.
So,
Oh yeah.
oh my gosh. We tend to I guess trying to we tend to always speculate what our pets want instead of really trying to connect, to see or understand how they're feeling. Why do you think people do
Yeah,
that on average?
I think people get like frustrated, and so they'll because they believe that they can't connect. When actually, if in actuality, if they just quieted their mind and felt the energy, they could connect.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have a lot of intention. Their intention, their thoughts are very strong if
Mm-hmm.
you listen to them. That's the trouble. It's like a lot of people don't want to listen to them. It's like, oh, this is what you want. Here you go. Even though it's not what they want, you give them a
Mm-hmm.
donut, it's not what they want, but they'll eat it anyway because it's good stuff.
That's right. That's right.
But they just, people just find it too daunting to try to communicate and to
Do you think
understand
we
an
push
animal. But
our feelings and emotions and perceptions onto our pets? Like,
of course, of
yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah.
Well, he's not feeling good today. He really feels left out, or he's not
Yeah.
feeling special. What's wrong with that? It's like,
The
you mean
dog's
you're
like,
not feeling
what?
special? He's fine.
Yeah,
He's fine.
yeah. The dog's like, you're crazy. I'm
Like,
doing
I'm doing
A-okay over here.
just fine. And it's like, you maybe want that, but I'm okay.
No, it's true. It's true. I think people were probably the animal on this planet. We don't. I think we're the ones that kill for sport. And there are some that kill for food, the same as animals. I don't want to lump everybody together, but I do feel that mankind has a way of just corrupting and damaging everything that we touch. I look at our planet's in trouble. I look at our people, they're in trouble.
Yeah,
We know that animals have gone to plainly right to extinction, and some are
right.
close to it. We just don't seem to take care of anything. We don't seem to have that connection. At least, and again, I don't want to lump everybody together. Send the hate mail to Joe, my producer. Don't send me hate mail. So just not lumping everybody together again. Just saying, on an average, this is what happens. They look at animals
It's
as being a thing, a commodity, a business, but there's
a
no love.
property, a piece of property. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
And they feel that they can do what they want with their piece of property, abuse it. I I get a lot of uh, I get a lot of petitions for and people that have done things to animals and stuff like that, and it just makes me want to crawl through the lines and do something to the person that did that, because we are their caretakers. We have no right to treat them like that. It's just the animal is a sentient being. It knows it hurts, it knows it loves. I mean, I've had cows, they lose their calf and they mourn. You
Mm,
can see it, you can feel it. They mourn. You just are too stupid to see it,
mm-hmm.
but
That's
they
true. Look
do.
at elephants, for example,
Oh
how they
yeah.
remain behind with their dead. and
Yeah.
and their calves. They'll like
Yeah.
mother elephants have been known to stay around their dead calves for like days.
Yeah, yeah, and cow will do that as well if you let them.
Hmm.
We've had a couple, that have died over the years, and you have to take them away from the mom right away, because as long as she doesn't lick them and clean them up, then she's okay. It's not a part of her. But when
Right.
she does that, it's a part of her, and she'll continue to mourn.
Oh, that's terrible. Have you? I mean, it might be a crazy question, but have you counseled animals in this situation? Animals who may have just been depressed, because you know what? When you're breeding dogs, you're taking them away. Yeah, you're giving them, 8 weeks, the bonding time,
Yeah.
making sure they're healthy. But how does the pet
Yeah,
feel about
it'd
that?
be like a woman being barefoot and pregnant for 20 years. It's like
Yeah.
it's be like is they don't stop and think about it. Okay, how would you like to be pregnant for 12 years continually with no rest in between? That tears your body up. What do you think it's doing to the dogs?
Hmm. And then you
I've
take your babies
counseled
away.
dogs. Yeah, I have counseled dogs that have come from that type of situation, but
Hmm.
I've never been to an actual puppy mill. I would probably strangle the person that was running it.
Hmm.
But and it's they don't understand. They don't know anything but that life, And, I tell them, things are going to get better. You're not going to be that way anymore. You're not going to be in a cage. You're going to be able to be free and run around. You're going to have somebody that loves you
Mm-hmm.
and will take care of you and respect you. And that's the biggest thing. They want security. They're very insecure. They're very afraid
Mm-hmm.
and confused. And it
Mm-hmm.
takes time. It really takes time. And as long as you know, person that gets a puppy mill dog, as long as you know that it's going to take time, it's not going to happen overnight,
Mm-hmm.
then you're good to go. But if you expect them to get better in a couple of weeks, it's not going to happen.
No,
They have
no,
plain and simple, they have PTSD. There's no other
yeah.
way to put it.
No, you're not wrong with that. We had a little foster, and she didn't even know she was supposed to get excited when it came time to eat. A cage dog.
Yeah.
So, put the food bowl out, and she would just wait for you to push it towards her. It wasn't until she got, more comfortable with the other dogs that she's
Hmm.
like, oh, we get excited for food. Oh, I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
it makes it much easier when you get a dog like that if you have other dogs
Mm-hmm.
to make the animal stable,
Mm-hmm.
because they do that in their pack. They help to make the other one stable.
Mm-hmm.
I came into a situation where a gentleman contacted me and he said, we moved up here from California and had like 4 dogs, and just the the biggest one's been growling at my wife and snapping at my wife, and he says, can you come and talk to him? So I went over to the house. I can't remember, 4 or 5 dogs. And I'm like, it's not the dog. Tell him, I said, it's your wife. And she's sitting there. I said, you're unstable. I said, you've moved up here. You're stressed. You're worried. You're full of anxiety. I said, and the dogs know that. I said, he's the leader of the pack and you're unstable. He's doing what he would normally do to another dog to help them become more stable. I said, they're feeding off of your energy because you're so unstable. I said, you need to, basically, I told her, you need to get a grip. I said, you need to, start meditating something. I said, to get yourself calm down and become, and understand that what you're doing is affecting the animals. And that's what, and in a negative way.
Wow. It's true. I don't think people realize that they are very sensitive to our energy. And
Hmm.
if you feel off, they feel off. And also as a
Hmm.
pack animal, it's also that animal's job to feel like they're protecting the rest of the pack, right? So if they
Hmm.
would be getting aggressive towards you because you're just not
Yep.
getting it when they're trying to help you, then plan B is to go and to protect the pack.
Right. For the most part, they're more interested in getting that because they see you as a part of their pack.
Yeah.
So, you have this one unstable being in the pack, and we got to make you better. This is, you got to stop that. We're going to make you better, stop it. And by
Mm-hmm.
doing it, they can't talk to you, so they'll reach out and nip or growl or whatever,
Right.
or act out in some manner. But
Mm-hmm.
once people realize that 9 times out of 10, it's the people, it's not the animals.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, get a clue, people.
And I also think people are very impatient. When you're bringing in, like you'll get sometimes people get impatient with puppies.
Yep.
Like they're just not training fast enough. Sometimes people will think, okay, well, we're just going to get, we're going to go adopt a dog, which is, I commend them because I think there are too many that, that cute little puppy. I don't know how many times they get displaced when they're older. Not everybody keeps their pets. They
Yeah.
start seeing high vet bills and they surrender the dogs. And that's really heartbreaking. And I'm grateful that there's so many, I guess there are a lot of animal rescues out. I know I've personally donated, my time. People have had auctions, to spend like time with me with all proceeds going to the rescues, or I've fostered also to assist that
Yep.
way. But you got to give them some time. Like
You're
how would
better
you
off
feel?
getting an older pet.
Yes.
Well, it's like people do. I work internal medicine as a nurse, and in internal
Right.
medicine, we work with older people,
Yes.
and it's like it's throwing them away. I mean, that's how the government seems to treat them. It's like, oh well, you don't need this medicine, even though it would keep you alive. You're old, you don't need it. Why should we spend the money on that on you? And that pisses me off. And it's the
And,
same thing with dogs. It's like, oh, you're old. You know,
mm-hmm,
we can't
mm-hmm,
deal with you anymore.
mm,
That's part of life growing old, and you have
yeah.
to learn to deal with it.
Mm,
And my husband and I, we adopted the girls when they were puppies.
mm.
And then he told me the other day, he says, let's not do any more puppies. I'm thinking to myself, what the heck? You didn't do the raising of it or the training of it. So what's your issue?
And
Me,
how are my girls going to come back? If we
me and
don't
my
have-
sons, it's like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. And
Yeah.
I think that that's one of the reasons why Fatal Beauty hasn't come back, because she knows that when my Springer goes, I'm going to adopt an older dog.
Right.
It's that's the way it is. You just, give them a good home because they're the ones who need it the most.
No, that's true.
It's
That's
just
true.
it's like not a problem. If I wasn't working full time as a nurse, I'd have eight dogs like I did when we got married. We had eight dogs.
It's kind of hard not to, especially when you can communicate with them so easily. I think it would be so easy to care for them because they're basically telling you what their needs are.
Yeah, and they pretty much get along. We rarely have any that won't get along. We did have one years ago when JT, the big Dobie, was alive. My husband came home carrying this puppy. They had found it in the middle of the road,
Oh,
and it had rickets so bad I had to bring home some formula, baby formula, and feed it up. And never ever he was half coyote,
oh,
so he
a
had the
little bit of a wild
mustland,
streak. Yeah.
yeah, and the overbite. But
Mm-hmm.
a better behaved dog you never seen. Never had to house train him. Nothing. He
Mm-hmm.
looked like a miniature um, Siberian husky,
Oh,
but his coat, it looked like it was wiry, but you pet his coat and it was soft as silk. And he's
oh,
smart guy. He used to irritate the old man, the JT, and he'd be standing up on top of the stair, and the old man would be down below, and he'd be growling at the old man. Oh, that made make him so mad. And every now and then he'd get him down. And he'd never hurt him, but he'd get him down and it'd show his teeth like, stop doing that. And of course, that would last a couple of weeks and then it'd be right back again.
oh my God, that's hilarious.
The
So
two
they
of
do
them,
talk to
I
one
know.
another the same way as kids, basically,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, they do.
So, so I mean, they do mourn also, don't
They
they?
do.
They
Yeah,
mourn one another. Do they mourn their humans? I mean,
they
you
do.
you see stories about it all the time where, a dog will stay near an owner's gravesite for like months.
Yeah, I remember when my grandmother died, the poodle that we had it was her poodle. It's just like a little teacup poodle.
Yeah.
And, she would it would always be like up on the back of the couch, my grandma sitting on the couch, and she'd eat ice chips. The dog would eat ice chips, It's like, and so we brought her home to our house, and she mourned for almost a year.
Oh
But
wow.
fortunately, she wasn't going to a stranger. She was going to family. So
Mm-hmm.
family that was close. So
Mm-hmm.
so she lived to be about 17 years old, a long time.
Oh wow. That's a long time. That's a long life. So when somebody
Yep.
says to you, animals forget within a couple of weeks or a couple of months, do they actually forget or do they hold on to their memories?
Fish, yes. Fish and bugs. Yes, I must say fish and bugs do that. The bugs irritate me because I know where they got the saying, attention span of a gnat,
Right.
because they drive me crazy. It's like,
Right.
get out of my house or you dog meat.
Right.
So I said, you can go outside, be happy. Don't be
Right.
coming in here and trying to bite me, you stupid spider.
Right. Yeah, I'm
You
not a
will
big
not
fan
be
of
long for
spiders.
this world.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the spiders. But yeah, I guess we don't
Uh,
really think that they're also little sentient beings, right? So yeah, and
yeah,
they can
they're
communicate.
sentient. Hey, I give them fair warning. You know,
Right.
if they if they don't heed the warning, you know what? It's
Right.
not my fault.
Right.
Don't be coming and biting me. I don't like it.
Right.
I don't bite
But
you. You don't bite me.
animals in general, long lives or long memory span, because I've heard vets
Mhm.
say, oh, after a couple of months or after a couple of weeks, they're going to forget. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, they don't. They never really forget. They imprint on people, and this is somebody that's been with them all their life. Somebody that's loved them, take care of them. It's as if they'd lost a sibling,
Hmm.
that sort of thing. So they really don't forget that easily.
Hmm.
It's easier for them if they have somebody, that's family that they've been around a lot,
Hmm.
and then if you can sit down and talk to them and say, don't worry about it, you're going to be together again on the other
Hmm.
sides. It's okay.
Hmm.
And they understand, they're like, oh, okay, so I get to see her again. I'm like, yeah, yeah, it's cool. It's all right. And
Yes.
she was happy till the day she died. She just laid down and went to sleep. There you go.
Hmm. Yeah, we had at one point I had four little chihuahuas, and three were adopted. I had really no inkling as to their life before. One was pretty badly abused. They all passed within about 18 months. And it was curious to me because when, there was the matriarch, she was the oldest, the first to be
Mm-hmm.
there. And as
Right.
she passed, then next one stepped up. And as
Yep.
and as they started passing, the one that was very special needs, it's amazing how the other dogs just seem to know instinctively this one needs to be cared for now. We need to step up because her, I guess, guardian
Hmm.
was
Yeah.
gone,
Yeah. They
you
take
know?
over. Yeah. They take over the responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's what they do.
it was
Yeah.
fascinating
Yeah.
to me to see
It's
that.
it's for them. It's natural. So okay. Okay. The matriarch's gone. It's up to us now. I've got
Hmm.
to. The next one will step up and say, I got to take care of them. Then down the line.
Hmm.
And if you get a new dog in between, then they'll teach them that this is a special needs dog,
Hmm.
and we have to take care of this dog. So
Yeah.
it's the job is handed down.
Yeah, so they're definitely very intelligent,
They're
very
very
aware.
smart. They don't complain about it. They don't, yeah, they don't bitch and moan about it. They just take care of the special needs dog or the older dog, whatever.
Hmm.
The babies drive me crazy because they're always trying to take care of the Springer. She's like, get out of my face, leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm
They're
getting
always trying
old
to
and I'm
clean her
getting just
ears, clean her
ornery.
face.
Yeah, that's
So,
funny.
but at first she was like that, and like now she's becoming more used to it, and it's like, okay, fine, whatever you say, just leave me alone, let me sleep, and you can clean me up. It's okay.
That's funny. Um, yeah, I don't know. I realized early on that pets did grieve one another. I was always sort of curious about it when I had a cat pass, and the other cat, and it's strange because the other cat was in the other section of the house when the one passed. It was very unexpected. And when she came down into the other part of the house, she went right to the spot where the cat, the
Mm-hmm.
male cat had passed. And she laid there and she cried for like 2 or 3 days. I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to have to get another cat. I feel insensitive. But she just mourned and
Yeah,
cried and just wouldn't leave that one spot on the carpet.
yeah, they feel the release of the energy, and they know where the energy ended. What spot. I
Right.
know most of my dogs will tell me, I'm gonna go, mom, or they'll say, "Is it okay?" And I'm like, "Go. You shouldn't stay here if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Go on." And most of them will say, "I'm coming back. Don't worry about it. I'll be back." I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
"Okay, all right. I'll watch for you."
Do you grieve the same as other people for your pets?
Oh
Or,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Because when
even
they
though
it's
you know?
because at first when they die, it's like, yeah, I mean, I raise them from puppies, 99.9% of them. So
Yeah.
it bothers me a lot. But my son's like, well, Mom, maybe you shouldn't get another dog, like right away, or you shouldn't get another dog. It make you so sad. I said, yeah, I said, but you have, all these years of happiness. I said, what's a little while of sadness when compared to the joy that they bring? Because he's an animal communicator too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, for him, he's like, that was when he was younger. He's like, he had to think about that and, kind of ponder it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it goes to show, like, I would have thought, okay, well, if I at least knew in advance, or if they basically said, okay, this is a thing, this is how I'm feeling, because, you're just sitting here trying to figure out what's wrong with you. You have
Hmm.
to take, the vet's word for what's going on. We had one that's been misdiagnosed a couple of times, and I'm like, could this have bought her more time if it wouldn't have screwed up? Like, you just realize how vulnerable you are as a human being when you
Yeah. And
can't
then you
even help
start
them.
thinking, well, but it's just like people. Well, maybe I could have been here, or maybe I could have
Hmm.
done that. But you know what? Everyone, including dogs, has
Hmm.
an entrance point, at the time they come in, the time they leave, and the method in which they leave. All of that is set in stone.
Hmm.
So if they're meant to leave that way, then they're gonna leave that way. It's like somebody committing suicide. I mean, they made the connection, the contract long before they came down here that they're gonna
Hmm.
die, from what, killing themselves with a gun or whatever. It's But what they don't know is the circumstances surrounding that death. They know I'm going to die from a bullet hole to the head, but they don't know who's going to be there. They don't know where it's going to happen. None of that stuff. See, all of that is not known. So
Hmm.
they only know those certain things. It's the same way with animals. They know that they're going to die at what, 12 years old, and they're going to lay down and die, or they
Hmm.
know that they're going to get kidney cancer and they're going to die. Yeah.
Hmm. Right. They just don't know the circumstances. So much like people, they because again, like I think we're all souls like going to a collective, so to
Yep.
speak, and we
Yep.
all decide, okay, we're coming back down, we're doing this. Everybody involved within the soul circle all agrees, okay, that's good, we're
Yep.
aware of this,
Right.
and then it happens.
Yeah, that's just the way it is. I mean, I've been dead before. It's not like a big deal. It's
That's good.
it's like I died in
Yeah.
a motorcycle accident and came back. It's like, okay,
Mm.
yeah, all right, that's good. So I
Yeah.
can go to the other side, and there's my grandma and grandpa there, and Michael the Archangel, and it's like, yeah, it's not your time, but you had to do the experience this because we have something to tell you. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay, coolness. I said,
Right.
I know it's not my time, but whatever.
Yeah. So basically, you had an NDE,
Yeah.
like a near-death experience,
Actually, I was clinically dead for two
clinically dead.
minutes. For two
Wow.
minutes, yeah.
Right. Right.
But it's like, it's the second I died when I was a kid and came back. It's just like, I don't remember much of that one, but this one is very distinctive. I
Do you
remember everything.
feel do you feel your abilities may have been heightened when you came back? Because they say, when you die, you sometimes come back with abilities, or at least your abilities have been awakened.
Not, I still have the same abilities before I went to the other side, but it answered a lot of questions about, because when I went over there, Michael says you need to understand the reason you're here is for you to understand what you're supposed to be doing down there.
Hmm.
You're supposed to be, your soul belongs to Ariel, the archangel. That she was resent to live lifetimes until she learned to have compassion for mankind. So that's why you come back again and again and again. He said, you don't like it down there, but it's the way it is. And he says, you're supposed to be doing demon removal. So that started me on doing the demon removal. And I'm like,
Mm.
no wonder. He says, do you ever wonder why you've always been able to see them, to understand them, because they speak in Aramaic, and you see them in their true form? He says that's why, because that your soul sees them as an angel sees them. And I'm like, oh, okay, I was wondering about that. He's like,
Yeah.
Michael's like, yeah, hello. That's the reason. He says, in
Yeah.
every lifetime you've had, he says, we've always been there for you, and you've always, understood who and what you are and what you need to do. He said,
Mhm.
just a little bit late on the draw in this lifetime. I'm like, shut up. Give me a break.
It's true. It happens. I've had many, my guides come through and say, you don't listen.
Yeah.
Or the medium
Oh,
will say,
yeah.
you're not listening. I'm like, I listen, kind of, you know, because, we do much of the same work. And it's just, well,
When
you
it
know,
suits me, I listen.
well, yeah, I say in due time. I say, when you're meant to, it'll all be made clear. There's
Right.
no race.
Things
There's no
happen when
race
they're
there.
meant to happen, and
Exactly.
yeah. It's like
Exactly.
God's always telling me, he's like, really, you have to learn to have patience. I'm like, 131 lifetimes. Am I really going to find patience in this lifetime? And he
Yeah.
starts laughing. He's like, I guess not.
There you go. Right? That's just it. Sometimes you just wake up and you feel like tired from the inside out because you've just done it so many times and you're like, why am I doing this again? What did I not get? What did I not get
Well,
like the
she's
10th
she's
time
very
around?
stubborn.
Or,
She's
yeah.
very stubborn. So
Yeah.
people that have seen her are just like, okay, she's scary. I'm like, no, not really, not to me.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just we're all different. We all read differently. We all react differently. We perceive differently. It's what makes us individuals, and some people just never get it.
Yeah, some people don't get a clue, huh? See,
No.
my husband's one of those people, if you can't touch it, feel it, or see it, it doesn't exist.
Mm.
Until he married me, then it's a whole other situation. He's seen things he doesn't want to see again.
So basically, you've made a believer out of him. What does he think about all of this?
He's agnostic, so he believes in higher
Oh.
power, but doesn't get her name. And
Mm-hmm.
I remember the one and only time he saw a shadow person freaked him out badly. He's
Mm-hmm.
like, we were visiting my cousin down the coast, and we're staying at a timeshare, and I'm upstairs, and all of a sudden I feel something come in, and he's downstairs with my son, and he's like, Joan, get out here. He's bellowing at me, and I'm running down the stairs, and he's like pointing to this thing. He says, what is that? And I said, what do you think it is? He says, I don't know. And then it like shot out through the French door. I said, that, my dear husband, is a shadow person. I said, welcome to my world. He's like, I
Mm.
never want to see that again.
I can never undo this.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
cannot
It's like
unsee what I have seen. Oh.
that between that and my grandma stopping by and my sister, and he's like, and his mother. Oh God, his mother. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
yeah. I said, hey, don't tell me to tell her. I said, tell her yourself. She's your mother, not mine.
Right, right. So, well, I mean, the loved ones, tend to stop by. I've put my grandfather in charge of the pets, and I'm pretty sure he's just finally fed up because I always said to him, "Can you just come whenever one of the pets would go?" And he'd be just like, "How many freaking pets are you going to have?" And I've realized that this is a thing because Amelia and I were working one night, and she goes, "Oh, Pete is here, but she's with Margaret, who's the spirit of our house." I'm going, why is she with my grandfather? Because I don't know. He just left. I'm like, did he just drop off my dog and leave? And I was just like, what the hell is that kind of crazy? Knock it off with the shenanigans already. And she's kind of like been in and out, because we do demon removals also, and 17 years of it was like, pff, and I worry about the pets. I'm just like, come and get them. I know they're safe and I don't want to worry about them that something's going to happen to
Right,
them. That's just my
right.
own thing. I know they're pretty
Yeah,
resilient, right? But
yeah.
but I was almost mortified to realize the dog was back. I'm like, what? you know. But she's probably more resilient than I am. Tough little cookie. I think small package, but like big attitude. So,
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
so
yeah.
Is there a timeline? I know Pauline, I'm going to go through some of the statements and stuff, in chat. I tried to take the last 20 minutes to do that. But one question that stands out is, they had a dog die in the 80s. Is there any kind of like timestamp on when they can come back? If they're gone really long, do they just stay?
No,
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 go anytime.
no. It's like a person, they get the other side and they like it so much. It's like, I'm not coming back anytime soon. I don't want to do that again. No,
Like
I
most
mean,
of us.
my great grandmother, she's one of my guides, and she's been up there for about 100 some years, and she's like, I'm good. I just want to stay here. Because you don't have to come back. Nobody makes you. It's entirely up to the individual.
See, that's interesting because some people think, no, you've got to come back and you need to basically, if you've got it wrong the first time, you got to come back and do it again.
No, you don't. No, you don't. If you're sick and tired of it, you don't have to. But then, then you meet people who are alive and they say, well, I'm not coming back again. I'm never doing this. And they're right back again.
So do you think they get dragged in for somebody else's unfinished business?
Not usually. It's usually their own unfinished business. If they do come back, it's like, well, I should have taken care of this when I was alive. So I've got to redo it. I've got to go back and do it all over again so I get it right.
Right.
Like, yeah, it's like, Ariel, this is her last time. She's like, God told her, says, you don't have to come back again. We think you've learned. And she's like, thank goodness for that, because I'm so tired of being in a human form. It's ridiculous.
There's a lot of baggage that comes with being, a human. And I had a friend of mine whose mother was on the verge. Wait, I'm going to tell you a story right now. Whose mother was like literally had a foot in the grave. I mean, the death rattle, everything going on.
Yeah,
the family's gathering, and all of a sudden she's just like, I'm back, and we're like, wow, and she had so much baggage, and it's like you just watch this transition. I mean, she's having conversations with dead people and everything. Like, she's right there.
Sure. Yeah.
And it took about 6 to 8 months for her to come to the realization that, okay, I've got to get rid of all of this baggage.
Mm-hmm.
And then she went peacefully.
Yeah. Once you let go of it, see, that's the hardest thing for us to do, is to let go of it. We want to hold on forever. Yeah. It's like, I'm going to keep that stuff like old luggage,
It's true, because she kept making reference to, I'm trying to get on the train, but they won't let me take my bags. And she kept talking about things like this. And it's like, the idea is you can't take all the bags, so I'm not leaving without them. It's like, shit, you're going to be here forever,
Yep.
But she was just sort of a very self-absorbed individual. And the transition over those few months, it was a huge change. And just almost as though internally it was just all falling into place. And then one day it was just like, I don't need the bags.
Right. Exactly. You let go of it.
I can get on the train.
Yeah. People are so afraid to let go of it. That's the thing. It's just, this is mine. I'm not letting go. But, it's the same on the other side. People think, well, when you're over there, everything, you're perfect. No, you're not. You still have same hang-ups you had when you're here. Not quite as bad, but they're not perfect. Our souls are not perfect. We're flawed. It's like, that's why we're always trying to learn. That's why we're always trying to do over. It's why we're trying to come back again and experience all these things, because, we're not perfect, and we never will be, but we can keep trying.
Yes. Yeah, you don't see animals having to come back because they need to perfect something. They come back basically because they want to come back, or they want to connect with the people that they were maybe happiest around.
Right. They come back, but if they love you, you treat them good, they're going to be back. They're going to like, oh, yeah, I'm going there again. I got steak every night.
Yeah, that's right. I want that house right there. So, I don't know. Do you think that they ever decide, I'm going to come back as a people? I want to be a person. So, or do you know?
It does happen, but more often than not, no, because
That's amazing.
they really got it better as a animal than they do as a person,
Really?
especially if it's a dog or a cat, because humans, like, you talk to any dog or cat, they'll say, you humans are ridiculous. And like, you guys, you don't know how to live. You just got so much stuff. You forget it. I'm not
Hang
even
up after
going there
hang
with
up
you.
and
Yeah, I'm not going there with you.
oh my
We don't
gosh.
have to do anything but wag our tail and eat and
But
sleep.
they're
You got to
taking
go
a
to work.
chance though, right? That maybe they're going to end up in an abusive situation. Mind you, I guess people, it's the same, right?
It's the same as people. You end up with children that are abused. Adults that are abused. It's just something that you wanted to, either you're contracted to experience that in this lifetime. It's kind of like having cancer. You contract to experience cancer, but not die from it.
Right.
That's that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But and animals do that too. Because they're the cognizant just as we are. They want to experience either time as a horse, time as a dog, time as an elephant, and what happens that the way they die in that situation and stuff. It's all the same, only it's animal based.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they don't want to come back as human. Everyone I've ever talked to didn't want to come back as no human. So it's like, okay, bye.
That's yeah. That's funny. I mean, I can't blame. I don't think I'd want to come back as an animal either.
Yeah.
you know. And I mean, mind you, I don't know, like, I mean, coming back as like PETA, she was spoiled to death, or Amelia's dog Versace was just spoiled endlessly. So I mean, there's some animals that have it pretty good,
Yeah, yeah,
you
like
know.
mine.
Oh, for sure, but
Yeah.
it's a really tough call because they're so, again, they're sentient, there's these sentient beings, and some are just wise, wise, wise,
Yeah.
and
You
do
can see it in
they,
their eyes. Yeah.
yeah. So do they develop all of that knowledge and become as wise as they are through being through
Yes.
a dog's life, I guess
Right. Through
to
through
say?
being reliving. It's
Mm,
like, it's like people, if we really learned when we came back, we would end up that way. It's like my son would beat me. Uh he's an
right.
old soul. He's an old soul. I mean, you take one look in his eyes and he's an old soul.
Mm-hmm.
And he was born a little old man, I swear to God. He was just like, he was so wise. When he was about fourth grade, he's like, Mom, why are kids that way? He couldn't understand why you were a friend one moment and the next moment you were no longer a friend. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I don't understand. I said, because you're too advanced, you're too grown up to understand
Mm-hmm.
children. I said,
Yes.
it's
Speaking
hard.
to
I
a
said, but
child
that's the
that,
way. Yeah,
yeah.
but that's how kids are. And he's like, oh, okay.
That's a harsh lesson. That's such a
Yeah,
young
yeah, it
age,
is. It's just it's like, okay, yeah, he thought about it and digested it and stuff, and it's like, shrug his shoulders, like, yeah, okay, that's the way it is. All right, fine,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just it is a harsh lesson. It's like again, a friend of mine basically says, you know what, I came into this life, and one day at 4 years old I realized I got sick to my stomach because I realized, shit, I'm back. I'm
I'm
just
back again. Uh,
I'm
I'm
like,
back.
oh my gosh, what a harsh thing. Goes, yeah, it was my fourth birthday, and I just like, what?
Yeah,
It's
you
like, what,
you
all of
you
a
have
sudden?
that. Yeah, you have that soul connection, and you're like, oh crap, I'm back again. Damn it.
Yeah, but what, it took 4 years to
Yeah.
realize
Well,
that. Like,
before the comprehension and stuff, and you click, and then it's like, oh, my grandma's like, she says, yeah, I kind of saw that in you around 3 years old. She said, you're like, yeah, what the hell am I doing here? Like, she said,
oh,
but I told you it would be okay, and everything. Yeah,
mm-hmm. That,
she was a good woman, very intelligent, very
mm-hmm.
caring person. You don't come into this world to experience some things. Like, I grew up when my mother came back into my life, and I went back with her. you know, I was, physically abused, mentally, emotionally. My mother would take a baseball bat to you whenever she could, and,
Oh, yeah.
things like that. So you get to and my mother was bipolar. So
Mm-hmm.
you get to the point where you're like afraid of your own shadow, and you shut everything down to protect
Mm-hmm.
yourself. So it's like, I don't think I dialed in for that one, but evidently I
Mm-hmm.
did. Otherwise I wouldn't have gotten it. But
Right.
it makes you a stronger person. It makes
Mm-hmm.
you realize that that's something that I never want my child to experience. And
Mm-hmm.
so, we raised our son with the fact that, if something goes wrong or you're having a problem, you sit down and you talk it out. You don't just, you don't do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's 30 years old and quite well adjusted. So, not
Yeah.
worried.
So you did it right. You broke the cycle,
Yep. You
you
have
know.
to. You have to. You can't let it continue.
No, for sure not. I think some people just don't know how to escape it. It does keep repeating, and you realize somewhere along the line, because I had someone, very, very close to me who went through that cycle. And it's like you just realize somewhere along the line as you get older, I remember him saying, I didn't break it, but I
No.
had every intention of breaking it and couldn't.
Yeah. You have to be aware enough and stubborn
Mm,
enough and pig-headed enough
yes.
to
No.
say that's not happening again.
Mm,
I left for the military I signed up for the military at 17 years old, and I was gone by the time I was 18. There's just no
mm,
way I was staying there. I took off and got my nurse's training, and the rest is history.
mm-hmm. Now here you are.
Yep, I don't look back. You can't look back.
No, there's no place. There's no place to go by
Nope.
looking back. You can only move forward. Do you think because of your intuition, it gives you that more sympathetic edge, that compassion, right? Because I'm obviously you're in nursing, so you are compassionate.
Yeah,
Because that's definitely not for everybody, especially right now during all the
yeah,
crazy stuff that's going on right
yeah,
now.
yeah,
And if you're working with a lot of the elderly, that must
yeah.
be extra tough right now. You know.
Yeah, you have to. Fortunately, I haven't had any cases of COVID, so
Oh,
you know
luckily,
my
yeah.
patients have all been really good, and they're doing what they're supposed to do, and so there you go.
Hmm. Yeah. So that helps you, I think, to evolve and get away from that cycle altogether.
Yeah, working with elderly people, I think I like them better. They've seen so much and they've
It's
experienced so
true.
much in their lifetime. You think
Hmm.
about the last 100 years change. I
Hmm.
have 3 or 4 patients that are over 100, and it's like,
Really?
yeah, and they're like,
Wow.
one guy was in World War One. He's like, I thought I'd never see this. Goes on, this is against my rights. About the
He's
mask and
not
stuff.
wrong.
I
He's
know
not
about the mask,
wrong.
and I'm like, yeah. I said, as a fellow military person, I can tell you, I agree. I
Well,
said,
the
but
Nuremberg Code, right?
yeah,
The Nuremberg Code, you don't make
yeah,
people wear masks. It's right
yeah,
there. They went after
yeah.
the Nazis for stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
So
but I know, right? Don't even get me started on
I know. It's a whole other show. I'd probably be right there with you on it, but it's like I just keep saying, okay, despite everything, I guess we're all in it together, and yeah,
That's
just
what
leave
they.
that right there.
That's what they say. I'm not going there.
Yeah.
I want to get. I gotta trip the UK plan next June, so I got to get there. It was planned for this June, and then all this garbage came up. So a
Mm.
friend of mine, her son's a paratrooper over there, and he's getting married. So we're gonna. I'm spending a couple of weeks over there. Gonna go to the Isle of Wight, where all the rescues are. Animal
Oh.
rescues. There's a lot of them over
Oh.
there.
Are they
Yeah.
going to make you take all the vaccine? You're going to take the vaccine to go?
No.
Do you think?
No.
Okay.
I'm not. I don't get a flu vaccine. Why would I get a COVID vaccine?
I completely agree with you. They're
It
talking
ain't
about,
happening.
I think, the plane, like not being able to get on a plane without it. I think there have been talks, but that's against human rights. So I think
Yeah,
somebody,
it is. Yeah, yeah. It's against your constitutional rights. So
yes. No, exactly. So I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how things go with all of that. But
Yeah,
man,
my friends over there, they're not getting the shot either. They're like, no way, not happening.
I think a lot of people feel that way. It's like it's like they're telling you this can kill you, but come here, we're going to give you a shot. So being a nurse, when they inject you with a flu shot, essentially they are giving you the flu.
Right, exactly.
So, okay, so a COVID shot means they're giving you COVID
COVID.
in a
Uh-huh.
way.
And your
Okay,
body has to build immunity to it. So
but
there
it
you
kills
go.
you.
But there's no guarantee that that's going to actually immunize you. So they don't know if it'll last. They don't know if it'll last a short time. They don't know if you have
Right,
to get another one.
right.
There's so many ifs that are out there that are unknown factors. And
Hmm.
I guess people they just have to wait for the trials and stuff. I guess there's
Well,
been some people in the UK that have had reactions. So
well, so I keep saying is I think I'm just going to kind of wait for the first round to go see everybody else and see how many takers we have and who's left, and
I
then say,
know.
okay,
Because they're
you know.
saying, well, the first responders are going to get the vaccine. I'm like, oh, give mine to a non-first responder, will you? I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm good. I'll take my chances with the
Yeah, I'm
old
good.
folks. We're all right. So,
But I
oh
mean,
my gosh.
I've been in medicine for 46 years and I don't get sick. My immune system is like a freaking brick wall. I don't get sick.
You know what? I've been very fortunate. Also, I've only gotten, probably detrimentally sick with the flu maybe two, three, four times in my entire life. And I'm up there. So I count my lucky stars that it hasn't been worse. And I think since I got out of the public sector of, doing tours and large events and public
Right.
speaking, all of a
Right.
sudden I'm thinking, hey, I haven't been sick in I don't know how long. And my children started becoming adults. I'm thinking out of the school system. I'm like, right? My kids used to bring me home all this stuff. It's like,
Oh yeah,
all my kids
kids
are
are the
sick.
worst offenders. Their germs are really potent.
Oh my gosh. All my kids were sick. I kept them at home. I didn't send them off to contaminate the whole school. So,
Exactly, but not the others. They're like,
no, I
God
was
is
going
good.
to
I don't care if you're
say,
sick.
yeah, I'm thinking not everybody had my point of view on that. So,
I agree. Yeah,
oh my
yeah, I
gosh.
hear you.
I'm going to just sneak into chat for a few minutes here. So we had Zach say if animals, I think I read this off. If animals can feel emotions like love and sadness, they definitely have a soul. Yes,
Yep.
we definitely agree. And he has your philosophy. I have the same philosophy as June. Sometimes I like animals more than people, and I trust them more.
Hmm.
I
Yep.
think with animals, what you see is what you get, right? Nothing
Yeah,
in
they're
between.
straightforward. Yep.
Yes. Okay, that's good. Okay, Zach, I'm addressing all this now, trying to make my way down through chat. There's quite a conversation going on. Oh, thank you for the story of my loss of my little puppy. Thank you. He lost his mini doxy earlier this year. Penelope. Aw. Sorry for your loss as well. Yeah, it is a treasured possession. The little collars and okay. Pauline says, I wonder if my collie has returned yet. This is the one I tried to address. If she's
Uh-huh.
returned yet, she has been gone since the 80s. Yeah, this is sad. Wayne says my cat Sean passed a few years back and stayed here with me for many months. It
Hmm.
wasn't until I told him, even though I missed him greatly, that it would be okay. And after that, he left.
Yep. Yep.
So they,
They like to know that it's okay that you're through that part and it's okay for you to go. Yeah. Yeah. That's
yeah,
always the best thing to do. Yeah.
it's sad in a way because like even with Pete, I've always said no, it's okay, you can go. I understand, but and I'm glad that she's moved on, and that now she's just here in visitation, just
Right. Yep.
probably I mean. I don't
Dropping
know.
by.
Well, it's funny because my son, I always said when she liked him better. Anyway, he was here visiting and he was upstairs on his Xbox.
Uh,
And Amelia and I, again, were working and she goes, oh, Pete is here. She goes, I don't understand why she's upstairs because Brandon is here.
I was going to say,
I
her
think she'd
favorite
be here by
person's up
my
there.
side because I'm the one who pined over her. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Um, Zach says, this is going to sound weird. as June was talking, I looked over and just saw the outline of my doxy running towards me. This is the second animal apparition I've seen. Wow.
Yeah, it happens. It's like kind of like when I'm because of the angelic energy that resides within me. Animals are drawn to me, and even ones that are terrorizing other people. It's like I
Mhm.
have my friend in England. Her first time I met her dog, she says the dog's gonna just bark and just like be, you know, just go crazy because he doesn't like people. I
Right.
walk in the door and he's licking my legs, and it's like it's okay. But when I'm around, and I'm on radio or whatever, if I'm discussing demons, there's usually activity that
Hmm.
people catch in the recording, and it's
Yes.
the same thing with when I do with animals. They'll be attracted to my voice, and
Hmm.
they'll go around their loved ones. They'll come visit, like, oh, she's here. Let's go visit our
Yes.
uh,
And like
our
people, do
owner.
you find that other animals piggyback on everybody else's readings? You know how, because sometimes when
Oh
you read,
yeah.
if you read a person and you got that piggyback guy coming and going, oh, wait a minute, I can kind of get in there and see if she picks up
Yep,
on me for my loved one. Do animals do that also?
they do. They're just
That's
like people.
funny.
They just push in. Only push harder.
That's hilarious. My gosh. Do you also find, why is it animals gravitate to people who don't like animals?
That's funny because, like, I've always been a dog person, never really
Yes.
been a cat person. But
Right.
they're always like right there up against me and stuff. And I know that a lot of times it's because they're trying to convert you, especially if it's a cat. They're always trying to convert you.
That's
Like,
because cats are
look
just
how
buggers.
nice I am.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They
Cats
do.
are
They
just
they
boobs,
want
though,
to
right?
con they want to convert you. They want you to
Yes.
make you a follower, a lover.
Right. Right. Because yeah, because you hear about it all the time. People just don't want to really bother with animals. It's just like, oh, and dogs always up there, just like God. And I'm like, my father was like that. Animals, birds, it didn't matter what it was. Like I remember being at one of the science centers and there's this big hawk, and my dad's just standing there looking at inside the glass enclosure. A hawk would come over a little bit, check it out. My dad's like, bird come a little bit closer. I was like, you
Yeah, I have a
antagonize
friend like
animals.
that.
Like, yeah, they just gravitate to it. And my father wasn't one to like, he loved to antagonize them and play, but it's
Oh,
like he just could care less. Like, it's not like he needed to have all the pets.
right, right.
It didn't matter. This is wild hawks. Like, hey, my dad's like, all right, whatever. It's like, what the hell? Is it about you that they just seem like, were you a dog in your last life? Like, it's like you're the Pied Piper of animals or
Yeah, yeah,
something,
they want to convert. They want to convert you. They want you to know that they're there, and that, like, love me, gotta love me.
Well, yeah, he loved animals, but it's like, it's just like, well, whatever, like,
Yeah, yeah,
and
they
then missing a
weren't.
matter.
They
Yeah,
Yeah, they weren't the end all be all like they are with us. They're our children. But with him, it's like my husband. He loves the dogs and everything, but it's
right.
like he doesn't want to have to do any of that work
No,
to,
no.
to get them that way.
I remember saying to my dad once, I said, it's almost like, you could go fishing and they'd be jumping in the boat. This is like that ridiculous.
Uh,
You wouldn't even have to set the line. There's a fish would be throwing themselves at you. And he's just like, I don't know. It's like, which
yeah,
is fascinating to me because now, he's got Alzheimer's and he seems to connect more with, I mean, we know they connect more because they go back to that childlike state,
right.
and they use animal therapy
Yeah,
with them.
yeah.
So do you think that maybe they're communicating back and forth? That's why they find so much comfort in them?
They are in, and one thing I've learned working with Alzheimer patients and stuff is that the soul does not stay in the body all the time.
Oh, yeah.
When you have those moments of clarity is when the soul comes back in.
Uh,
But when it'll leave, and it'll come and go. And that's why you have those moments of absolute clarity. And when it's gone, it's like, you have to tell it to, pick up your feet, you have to drink, you have to eat, dress.
So that's
You know.
fascinating. So if basically the soul is the essence and the consciousness. So
Mhm.
when that steps out, because you hear about it with people in comas,
Yeah.
things like that, or people just on the verge of passing, they
Right.
just kind of pop in and out.
Right.
But with Alzheimer's, I mean, the body's still active. It's
Right.
still
The body can still continue. It
right,
can continue for a certain amount of time.
even though
And
the essence has stepped out.
right. The soul
Oh,
will step
okay,
out and then it'll come back before the time, before the body
right,
will miss it, so to speak. And then, it's back and forth.
right, right. That's fascinating. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like working with them. It's like, because I've actually seen it leave and then come back. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool.
That's a thing. Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah. Oh, wow. I never knew that. That's interesting. I'll have to sit there and, do like a
Yeah.
Skype call or something with my
Yeah,
dad. Just saying.
if you watch, you'll
Yeah.
see because there'll be especially in the advanced stages of Alzheimer's, when
Right.
they're more not there than
Mhm.
they are there, and
Right.
then they'll have days and moments when they have absolute clarity. They remember everything, and
Right.
that's when the soul steps back in. It's like, now remember when, you know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that did happen probably more often before, but not so much now. Mind you, I'm assuming like I live quite a few hours away. So I think now with COVID, my mother is the one that goes in the most,
uh-huh,
so
yeah,
but getting back to this, Zach again, my fiance's Chihuahua, Envis, was the most chill Chihuahua I have ever known. He was my buddy. Okay, apparently, blah, blah, okay, this is a conversation, so I won't get into too much to that. Um, Zach, no COVID vaccine. Okay, we're on to COVID now. Um, this is a
uh-oh,
whole other conversation. Oh my
oh
God.
no.
Are we even on the animals anymore? Are we just totally hating on the COVID thing right now?
Everybody's like cursing the COVID.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's pretty much where it's all gone. Oh, here's a question for you. Beyond all of that. Wow. Okay. Um, oh yeah. Wayne says, sounds like your dad has a kindred connection to the animal kingdom. Yeah, I'm thinking. Question, does June know if the soul leaves the body during a dream?
The soul can leave the body
Yeah.
during sleep. It happens. Unfortunately, with Ariel, it happens quite often.
Right.
She's off doing things, and
Right.
then a friend of mine, we go to these. We're paranormal investigators, and she's like, she first started going with me. We share a room. She's like, it's always fascinating. She says, when you're when when you're when Ariel's inside of you, she says you're snoring. So the minute she leaves, and she says, I can see her leave. You get really, really quiet. And you can tell when she comes back in. I said, are you watching me sleep? Don't creep me out. Stop that.
That's funny when you say that because Ariel, Angel Ariel,
Yeah.
visits with my daughter.
Yeah.
Whenever I
Ariel.
think when she feels she needs that
Yeah.
bit of a kindred.
People don't understand that you can be in 1,000 places at the same time on the other side.
Yes.
And even though Ariel's soul resides within me,
Mm-hmm.
and, when I do removals, people say that, they can see her come forward. My eyes turn white. And
Mm-hmm.
my shoulders have the wings start coming out, and the
Mm-hmm.
voice changes and face changes. But she goes out and does her thing at night, and I'm like, fine. Just remember, I got to get up and go to work the next day.
That's right. Yeah. No partying tonight. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Zach says, thank you very much for your service.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I'm thinking like, oh my God. Well, that was good. The big COVID talk. I mean, it's a whole other show, guys. We can't be doing all that.
Oh yeah.
It's like, gosh, just reading some of this stuff. It's so tempting to kind of like just dive right in there. It's like, but then they're probably, Wayne says, thank you very much for your answer. Yeah, we probably kind of get flagged on, we'd end up in freaking YouTube jail on this account too. So,
I'm sure.
uh, yeah, they're tag words that you need to be really careful about. So
Don't put COVID in there.
yeah, I know. So just to prep in,
It'll
because
get
you
us
are
in trouble.
That, and it doesn't take much these days. I think that's all the censorship that's going on is just getting a little bit hairy. So
Yep.
you are coming back,
Yep.
right, in beginning of the year, and so let's just kind of we're going to segue into that just a little bit, just to kind of get people all primed. It's like, oh, wow, I want to know more. So you decided you founded a paranormal team. I mean, you started talking to animals, or did you do paranormal and then start?
Right.
You know, how did you
It's
decide
called
I'm going to
Ghosts
start a
and Girl.
paranormal team?
I used to belong to a paranormal team, but what I do is dark, and
I hear you.
the other members of the team were I did not want to take a chance on them because I didn't want anything happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a friend of mine that she can't do what I do, but she can like see, the shimmery. She sees demons as like shimmery, like if you're going through a desert and it's wavy, you see this like the heat coming up off the
off of the
road
sidewalk
and stuff like that.
I've said that
Yeah,
before. I've
that's
used
how
the same analogy. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's how she sees them, and she's basically the diplomatic part of the group.
Right.
And because when Ariel's out, it's no talking. She's like, the minute I get to a location, it's like, I know where it is, I know what it is, and all I want to do is kill it. So she's like right on there. Whereas, you're supposed to have this nice talk with the people where you're coming. So it's all I can do to contain her, to keep her from like, shut up until it's your time.
Yes, no.
But like I said, there's only two of us, and like I said,
Right.
what I do is dark. That's why I thought, well, I need to have something for a logo that's funny, because what I do is dark. So Ghosts and Girls Paranormal has, the first girl is like holding a recorder out front, and the next one is peeking around the corner behind her, and then there's a ghost behind her looking afraid and peeking around the corner.
Right.
It's like, but we specialize in negative entity removal. So
Right.
I mean, it's like it takes me a few seconds to remove them, and then
Right.
the show's over. There you go.
Yeah, I walk your path. I've been I don't find it overly difficult either.
But so I thought, well, I need to like pull away from the other group so that I don't, people are not into that stuff. So I don't want to take any chances of anybody getting hurt or anything like that, because I can protect myself, and I really don't need that, because with her inside, people, they don't stand a chance anyway. Once she comes out, it's like gone.
Right. And you have to be on site to do this. Do you find that hard with COVID going on right now?
No, I don't have
Can
to
you
be
do
on
it
site.
remotely?
I've removed demons as far as I've removed them as far as the Netherlands, Australia, you name it.
Right.
Just send me a picture and I'll do it. No problem.
Yeah. It's easy. Remote is easy. It gets time consuming.
Yep.
Do you get a lot of repeat offenders? Like I find sometimes when you do remove them that way, sometimes you get another one. I mean, that one's gone. It doesn't come back, but you get another step in.
Nope.
Oh, that's excellent.
Because when I do the removal, I also do a cleansing on the individual and the home, the individuals involved, so that no trace of the dark energy is left behind. And if you don't have any trace left behind, then nothing gets attracted. I've been doing this for over 20 years and never had a repeat offender.
That's fantastic.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's like Ariel's like, this is what you have to do so you don't get people coming back again. And I was like, okay.
No, yeah.
So that's what I do.
No, it's true. It's true. It can be very tedious otherwise. I find that sometimes if people don't change their behavior, because it's important to work with the mindset the person has to feel empowered, because you get to go home, and they still keep going through that syndrome. Like I've been living like a hostage
it's all about, a lot of it is education, I've had people that I know the minute I see the individual or I see a picture of the individual, how the demon became attached to them, what it is, what its name is. And it's like, really? A, do not summon them. B, don't think I'm coming back again, because it ain't happening. So if you get another one stuck with you, hey, not my problem because you summoned it. Not my problem.
Right.
I just
Right.
you have to educate people. It's like you did this yourself. Nobody else did it. You're responsible for it. And you're lucky that I'm removing it because I could just leave it with you.
What about those who are just like wrong place, wrong time?
Oh, that happens a lot. And I would
Yes.
say about 50% of the ones I come in contact with too are wrong place, wrong time, or have been doing paranormal investigations in a place that knowingly has dark entities.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I just don't understand how that happened. Or in the
Yeah.
case of my friend Clyde Lewis, who does Ground Zero.
Right.
It's like, really? You're going to say the demon's name over and over again? Let
That's a
me
good
think about
thing to
that.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No wonder
That's
you
an
have an attachment.
incantation in my book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No wonder you have an attachment. Let me know when you're ready to get rid of it. And okay.
Yeah, it's like the Beetlejuice thing.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right? It's like, really? Get a clue. Come on.
Mm. Do you think maybe it's because people they're fascinated with the darkness? I know I've done like a multitude of shows, and people hear me say this all the freaking time, but I have to reiterate it because it's a fact. I can give 5, 6, 7 different answers to one question, and they always go for the most extreme because it's what sells. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm really actually pretty logical minded. I don't run around, thinking. I don't run around crying demon all the time. It's just, you probably hear me yell psychokinesis more often than anything else. But it doesn't mean, they're definitely out there. But
Oh,
do
yeah.
you think the need to be scared? I mean, I was saying this earlier. People would rather know that there's a demon in the house than hear the psychokinesis word. They don't want to think that I'm a powerful being that can do all of this amazing stuff. No, it was a demon.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the first words out of their mouth is it's something negative. And I'm like, 9 times out of 10, it's not.
Right.
But when I started doing the removals and stuff, God says, I'm going to be expertise who needs this. This is your calling. So this is what you need to do. And I said, well, not every one of them is going to be that way. And he's like, no. He says, I'll throw in a few nice ones every now and then.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm like, gee,
sense of
thanks.
humor.
How
How
good
lovely.
of you. How good of you. He does. He does. And I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Just give me a break, will you? I told Michael the other day, I said, I need a break. I said, between 50-hour work weeks, I need a break.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, really? You really think you're going to get a break? I'm like, yes, I want a break.
It doesn't happen. I think if you have the calling, you have the calling, right?
Yeah,
Do you find
it doesn't matter if you're tired or not, or I just had surgery 2 weeks ago. It doesn't matter. You just get at it.
It's true. I agree with you. I find that no matter what is going on in my life, I think it's also the need to the responsibility, I guess. You start to feel responsible for people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you want to, it's kind of like a duty, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, my son's like, Mom, can't you just cut them down and not do so many? I'm like, if I got no requests, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that doesn't happen. I had 21 in 1 week last month. It's like, really? Give me a break.
We've done as much as 60 a week.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's crazy.
It makes you wonder where they all come from.
I know. Well, if you in January 25th, 2018 issue of Newsweek, the Vatican came out and said, which the Vatican never talks, came out and said that they're having to train more exorcists than ever before.
I remember the article. Yes.
Because of the increase in possessions. And God and I were talking in the summer of 2013. And I was talking to him, and I'm like, he says, listen, I want to let you know that starting the end of this year, there's going to be an increase in paranormal activity and mental illness and health issues and violence. And sure enough, September was when the first school shooting hit. And it's like, really? Yeah, I could have done without that one. Thank you very much. My friend was working at the school in Connecticut that it happened. And it's like, it's bad. And it's just been increasing ever since then. And then the COVID, of course, I mean, all the negativity, all the anxiety, all the depression. And it's food. It's like food for them.
It's true.
Come on down. It's a smorgasbord.
It's true. It's like the buffet is open. I know. It's trying to get people to realize that you need to raise your vibrations. It really is about grounding your energy, doing some earthing, or just, open some windows. Live. I always say, live, love, laugh. It's so important. Live, love, and laugh, and just bring it up because, man, oh man, like I grew up with an attachment, and it took my mindset to like, there wasn't any paranormal shows back then. There wasn't computers. It was just the old good old public freaking library, learning how to cleanse but it was my changing of everything up here. That was the game changer for me.
Yeah, you have to change the way you think, the way you process things.
Yes.
And it's like, people don't think about that. It's all about the thrill. It's all about the challenge.
Yeah.
It's like, can I do it? Can I not do it? What would happen if I did this, or what would happen if I did that? Or, they'll watch these paranormal shows on TV and they'll think, oh, I know what I'm doing. They're not prepared to see a ghost, let alone a demon.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people, if you're investigating and you see what you think is a demon, a dark entity, I said, do not acknowledge it. I said, to acknowledge it is to make it see you, and you don't want it to see you. Thank you very much.
I always say, acknowledgement is empowerment. I'm like, don't give it to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. It's interesting. Well, I already know that we're going to have a fantastic show when you return, because I wanted to give everybody a little bit of a taste of what to expect on the next show with you. We have come to the 11 o'clock mark, and I really enjoyed having you on, and I thank you for that. It's just a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
And who knew that animals had such attitude?
Oh yeah, attitude.
They do. But it was enlightening because honestly, the next time I hear somebody just carry on about how animals have no souls, I'm just going to send them a link to the show.
I was going to say, send them a link.
That's right.
Just because they don't want to talk to me because I'll go off on them.
No. But before we go, tell everybody how they can find you. And if they want to get a reading, a pet reading from you, they can go where? Or a cleansing. Okay, if you either want to talk to your dog or you want to get rid of a demon, there's your girl.
Yeah. Go to mysticconnections.org or demonseer.org. I mean, demonseer.com. I'm on Facebook, June Lundgren, Demon Seer. I'm on Twitter. I don't hang with Twitter too much because it annoys me, but
everybody else.
You can find my books on Amazon. I have 8 books, soon to be 9 and 10 coming out. So,
wow, busy girl during COVID and those 50 hours of nursing. Yeah, 50 hours of nursing and doing clearing just can't keep you down for anything. Zach says, love the show.
No, not enough hours a day.
Zach says, love the show. Thank you, June, for being here with us, and keep up all the great work that you do. You're proof that not all heroes wear capes. And have a good night, everybody. Okay, good night, Zach. Good night, Wayne. Good night, Pauline. Just perfect. Well, good night, Joe. I see you hiding in there in chat. So thank you very much for joining us. And we will see you, I believe, in May. If I'm not mistaken.
May. Yep.
It is. Okay.
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks, June.
Thanks. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, we've come to another awesome segment here on the Outer Realm. Huge thank you to everybody who tuned in and had a little go at the chat room. And it's really big thank you to our special guest, June Lundgren. She was just absolutely delightful. And she will be coming back to talk about the darker side of paranormal. So that should be a lot of fun. But that's in May. And of course, big thank you to Joe Montaldo for taking, great care of me here on the show today. So remember to please stop by not only the United Public Radio YouTube channel, but remember to stop by UFO Paranormal Radio and subscribe there also. So please join us tomorrow night, because tomorrow night's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to basically be bringing on Freddie Silva as he talks about the missing lands, which basically is civilization pre-flood dates. And it's just fascinating. The man is just fascinating. He'll be on for the first half of the show. And of course, the second half of the show will bring Joe Montaldo on to doing what he does best, talking aliens, of course. So have yourselves a great evening, and we shall see you tomorrow night. Good night.